366 video series. Happy Monday to you. For many of you, this is a holiday in the United States. For some of you, it's not. But either way, I thought I'd prepare you for a topic that's probably affects every single one of you who are out in the workforce, and that is passive aggressive behavior. It is so common. So what I want to start with is giving you some specifics, at least 3 specific things on how to address it. The first one is to identify your role. If you're not a consultant like me and your job is actually to manage somebody who is passive aggressive, and or you are working with people who are passive aggressive, maybe an executive or coworkers or working on a project and people are passive aggressive, just know that your job is not to correct the passive aggressive behavior. And even if it's your employee, to say that to an employee that you perceive them as passive aggressive is only going to ignite their ego and defense mechanism to preserve themselves. So it's really not functional for anybody other than a consultant to address passive aggressive behavior head on. It just does not serve the person who is saying it at all. And even as a consultant, it's a very touchy topic because people have one perception of themselves and then they have another view. They're getting other perceptions from other people. And usually, more often than not, there's a conflict in those, what people hold about themselves and what other people see. So, know your role is number 1. What is your job here? Number 2, you know that passive aggressive behavior is a distraction. So just know that it makes it personal. Stay focused on the task at hand, the need that needs to be addressed. That is critical because so many of you, hey, sorry, Ra is licking her paws. You see her back there. Just know that it can be a distraction for you to focus on the behavior of people, whether you like what they're doing or don't like. Your job is not to like how people are. It would be nice, but let's face it, there are people that have really poor behaviors out there and you don't have to like it. What you do have is a job that needs to get done, and focusing on other people's behavior is going to be a distraction for you. So the third suggestion is identify the path of least resistance. How can you get the need and or the task done without a lot of resistance? That's what you want to do, is take the path of least resistance. Confrontation is not always the path of least resistance and oftentimes blows up in people's faces and creates a lot of gossip. So don't do that. Unless you feel like you must. And here's the other thing I would say about passive aggressive behavior that you're probably not going to like, but I'm going to say it anyways, is that if you have a lot of people in your life, let's just say you kind of do a scan of your life and you have people who are passive aggressive, that is telling you something about you. Everybody, the outside is always going to reflect the inside. The inside is always going to reflect on the outside. So for me, if I know I am going to consult to an executive who I perceive is a narcissist, I'm going to consult in a way that I know they can take in the information. Because ultimately, my job is to get people to see, feel, and sense their own personal power. A narcissist is not somebody who senses those things. They don't feel it. They're too much in their ego. So you got to understand your role. Going back to the first thing, you must know your role. I would never tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist. Never. There's never a time where that makes sense. And I have had clients come to me and tell me that their therapist said that they were a narcissist without any diagnostic tools or whatever, which, by the way, I think is a whole farce in and of itself. But who and what society that we live in where people get labeled as these dysfunctions is absolutely a dysfunction. Okay, so run. So if you have somebody who's saying you are these things, know that that is not who you are or what you are. Those are expressions of how you might be expressing yourself. But for your job, you're just want to assess what needs to be done to get the job done. Now, if you have family members that are passive aggressive, you get to choose who you're spending your time with your family. And a lot of times, family is passive aggressive. That doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of time with them. You have conscious choice. Now, my preference is always to have people that are authentic and real. That's not the most people. Most people think they're authentic and real all the time. And I'm laughing. Most people think they're authentic and real all the time, but they're not. People put on masks. They want people to like them, so they portray themselves a particular way. For me, that just doesn't work for my persona. It does not work for my personality. And it's too much energy focused in the wrong direction for me to do that. Other people spend a lifetime putting on these masks and these facade in order to fool or create these false ideas for other people. To me, I don't have time for that. Those are not my people. I don't need to be around them. And so I identified these things. So you should too. When you have somebody who's passive aggressive, see them for what they are in that behavior. That's not saying that you can't spend time with them, but know who you're spending time with, and know that that's their behavior, and you cannot change their behavior. It's not your job. Your job is to identify the task and or the need. So stay focused on the need and the job. If your friends are passive aggressive, okay, then don't piss them off. Don't poke the bear, because that's what makes people passive aggressive. It's a protection mechanism, it's a safety mechanism. Oftentimes, it's a trauma response. Don't take it personally if it's not personal. It's only personal when you see that you have passive aggressive people around you everywhere. Then you got to take note. What's going on within me that I'm attracting all these passive aggressive people? That's when you really start to get to the root of the issue. I love this stuff. Cheers to being in sync. I'm Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace. I hope you have a great day. Bye.